I used to give stories to friends when I came back from coming up north where we would get warned. We were swimming in lakes and a guy that was there, they would warn us and say, everyone get out because a bullfrog has warned us that a crocodile is coming.
Yeah, that's it.
And sure enough,
Yeah.
a few minutes later, I mean, here we were splashing around being idiots,
Yeah.
and yet
Yep.
they are connected,
Yeah.
and their senses are just like peaked.
It is, yeah. And as I said, it's like the spiritual snake. It's, sometimes you got to, a lot of the indigenous people throw sand and that into the water to tell the spirit that they're here to, not harm you, but they're here to,
Right,
to
okay.
respect. So, and a lot of Aboriginal people do that, throw sand or earth into the water.
Is that right?
To say that they're
It's just a sign of respect.
It is a sign of respect, but to also tell the spiritual people that we're here, or if it's a totem or something that you're not here to harm them.
Yeah.
So,
In Burma, which is Myanmar now, you would give offerings to the tree spirits. One is an offering to sort of say it's a blessing for you, but also it's, I'm not here to harm you. Please leave my family alone.
That's it, and that's why, same thing here with our
Is
culture. And that's why they do smoking. And as I said, there was a story of my dad when he was young, when he was 10 years old in Boddington, and he was in a cart with my grandfather, his dad, and my great uncle, and they went past the Narrogin there in a sulky and a horse, and they drove past, and in the graves, because at night time it's scary because the spirits came out, and all of a sudden my grandfather and my uncle, and because Dad was in the back of the sulky and he was like 10 years old and 11 years old, and all of a sudden they shouted out Aliwa, which means look out, Aliwa in Noongar, and one of the spirits, female spirits, came and got into Dad.
Oh.
So he had to, and my grandfather and my uncle stopped the sulky, but they had to grab Dad because if he would have ran away, he would have been in trouble then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to grab him to hold him, and what they did is they spiritually, they did the smoking ceremony and smoked the spirit out, and then they went on their way. So that's stories of which we're talking. You spoke about that earlier, about spirits jumping into you, or it does. So.
Isn't it fascinating that coming from older cultures, that is just the normal thing you hear?
Yeah.
But yet, to a lot of the guys that have come from a lot of Western cultures, that I think probably are not as connected to that side of things, are just totally oblivious to that world. That is an everyday connection in cultures around the world.
Yeah.
To the African cultures, to the Asian cultures, to the Native American cultures,
Yeah, but it's about knowledge though, so they don't know what's
that's been passed through.
The history of the place, and I think that's why it's important people get told, what the place is about culturally and spiritually, and what not to do and what you can do. I think that's important for a lot of even people, tourism. Go up north and they go places. They need to be told about the place.
And there's some scary stories out there.
And there is, and all the people, even the Aboriginal people, will understand that. It can be a scary place out there. If you don't understand the law systems,
the laws, and paying the proper respects where
paying the
where
respect
you do go.
for where you are, and that. So and that's an important practice that we need to tell people.
You do. And I was talking to this guy who was I forget where he was from. He worked on a trawler. He was an Indigenous guy, worked on a trawler, and 2 weeks deep sea. They would go for 2 weeks. The first few days, they pulled up a dead body in their net.
Yeah.
Now, the decision was, do we go back home now, report it to the police? But because they counted on that catch for a living, it was going to cost too much to come all the way back and go back. They were going to lose time, and so they put the body in the ice where the ice was.
Yeah.
They said it was the worst 2 weeks of their life.
It would be.
This poor Indigenous guy was just like this. We just it was the wrong decision.
It
'cause
was.
every night,
Yeah.
every day, things were happening.
Yeah.
Accidents on the boat. It was just bad juju.
Yeah, no,
all around.
it is, mate, and that's what we talk about. And as my father told me and my grandfather, you don't move bodies around. You got to leave them where they are, and they're there for a reason.